día?
Este día es un día muy especial porque tengo aquí a mi amigo Mario, que ahorita pues va por el nombre MarSau,
Así es.
que mucha gente tal vez no lo sabe, pero pues son sus iniciales de su primer nombre, bueno, su nombre y su apellido.
Creo que es la única persona que se ha dado cuenta o que me lo ha dicho, porque nadie me lo había dicho antes. Siempre me preguntan que qué significa.
Pues sí me lo pregunté y de repente así como que dije, ¿por qué MarSau? Y luego me puse a pensar y dije, ok. O sea,
Pues
makes
sí.
sense.
Sí. Tú sabes que en esto de la música hay
que tener tu
propio nombre. Sí, se me hace.
name.
Además de que te guarda un poquito a veces también de que te busque gente que no quieres que te cuente.
También. De hecho, sí, pues, yo por eso, la gente piensa que mi apellido es Argenis.
Es tu segundo nombre, ¿no?
Ese es mi segundo nombre, pero la gente no lo sabe.
Eso también yo lo sabía.
Y lo usé como, pues, stage name, o sea, no quería cambiar. A mí siempre se me ha hecho medio raro tratar de cambiarme el nombre así completamente. So I just noticed that we're speaking Spanish.
Spanglish?
Spanglish.
All right, we can do that.
Yeah, but so I kept that name. I didn't want to change it to like something crazy because I've always felt kind of silly about it.
Well, your middle name's pretty cool though. Like
Argenis.
It's I don't think I've ever heard it.
It's actually from Venezuela. Well, there was this boy band back in the day when my mom was younger, and she had a crush on this guy Argenis. So it's crazy because recently I started Googling him and he's still doing music. He's like a DJ now or producer or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of crazy. But yeah, his name's Argenis. So
Collabo?
Right? That'd be crazy, dude. Like, I think my mom would trip out. Like,
That would be cool. But
yeah.
He must be old, no?
Yeah, he's old. Yeah, it was probably like in his... Because he was young. So he's probably like in his late 40s or early mid 40s. He looks young, but maybe just because he's an artist and you know how you have to kind of keep...
Yeah.
Or trying to look as best as you can. But anyway, welcome to the show, man. It's really cool to have you. Because we go, most people don't know this, especially like nowadays, but we go way back.
Yeah,
way
some
back.
Stuff together, man. It's crazy. I look back on... Actually, sometimes I've gone back to listen to what we've worked on, and I'm pretty proud of what we've done, honestly.
Yeah, man. Like I still I go through emails to try to find the songs because I always wondered if you had sent them to me, but I don't have any of them. So I'm like, damn, like I really want to listen to them because it's like as musicians we evolve and you know what I mean, and sometimes we look back and we're like, that was like pretty cool, or oh that sucked, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always thought like those songs were pretty cool. I always enjoyed like the time that we were in the studio working on them. I really enjoyed them, so I want to hear them. So whenever you get a chance,
I'll send them to you.
Send me a track or two.
I have my alt computer still, and it still works. I think I have some of the actual tracks, the files.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I've gone back to listen to them too, because there's stuff that you do that you do in your past that you're not proud of. But those songs were good songs, and I mean, we didn't have a big budget, and whatever, but I'm proud of what we did. Like I still go back and hear. Yeah, there's things that we could have done better, but
yeah,
we did with what we had at that moment. But even that, I'm not. Sometimes they're like you're afraid to show some stuff because you're like,
yeah, it's cringy.
That stuff is like, hey, I worked decent on this. I liked it. I like it.
Yeah, I remember from what I remember the songs are pretty cool. Like I really liked the melodies, like the lyrics. It was different for me because I was used to doing rock, like straight up rock music, and even right now, as you guys can hear, there's reggaeton in the background, and that's because like I'm really into it right now. But what people don't understand is that like this is more of a movement than it is just reggaeton. It's like a Latino thing. You know what I mean?
Well, I think as a well-rounded artist or musician, you have to embrace all genres.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. I used to be that way. I think it's a matter of as you grow with the years, you realize, and as you enter into the scene, the music scene, more professionally, you realize that all these people that have made it are just people that are just working hard, and you learn to respect that, no matter what they sing. Like, there's people who knock certain genres, or but it's because they don't understand that how hard it is to make it.
Yeah.
People will call you a sellout or call you this or call you that, but they don't realize that behind any bit of success, there's a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's easier to criticize. It's easier to say, oh, this genre sucks or this person sucks. Well, if they suck, go write a song and make it a hit song, and then you don't suck, you know. But obviously that's not easy to do.
I was actually thinking about that, like that we are like now because of social media and like all this, like all these outlets that allow you to have an opinion or express your opinions. Like we're all of a sudden we're all experts in everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, what qualifies us as experts? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, especially if you've never been in the music scene, you know, it's not easy to. Dude, you know how it is. You know how it is to get on radio, to even get an executive to listen to your music. It's like pulling teeth, man.
It's not something that happens all the time. Most people don't have that opportunity.
And even if it happens, I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about that. And I was the day before yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was telling her how before, you know, A&Rs used to go to the big markets, you know, to LA, to Atlanta, to go look at artists.
Yeah.
And they would, and on a good weekend, I mean, you only had so much time to see so many artists. So maybe you got to see 15, 20. Now you can watch 100, 200 a day on your computer.
Yep.
So you don't need to. The window of opportunity for an artist to get in it's a lot smaller because there's a lot more they can look at, you know. A lot of more that they can compare you to.
Yeah.
As where before, it was limited. You know, it was limited the number of artists or bands that A&R could go look at in a day, as opposed to what they can do just with a click of a mouse.
Yeah, exactly. So it was out of 15, 20, you were one of those. Yeah. Now it's like out of thousands. You know, especially because of so much like. There's so much out there, man, that I think the market is oversaturated. Yeah. And so because of social media is a great thing, but it's also what makes it a lot difficult for people to make it through. Just like to make it through the noise, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's like anything in life, you know, there's pros and cons to it. Social media helps you reach people, but it also helps you. I just dropped my phone. It helps you. It works against you when it comes to all the competition that's out there, because now anybody can record their songs at home. It's just the advancement of technology has made things easier for everybody to make music, you know? And people can just make music at home now and put it out there. But at the end of the day, I do think that talent does rise to the top. Yeah. At the end of the day, because at the end of the day, if you get signed, you have to sell records. Yeah. Or you have to sell your music or your streams. And at the end of the day, if people don't like what you're doing, you won't sell anything and you'll die out. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think if you work hard, if you make right decisions, if you're mentally healthy, you'll get to wherever you need to get to, you know. Yeah,
especially in this industry. Yeah, I agree with you. And you know, going back to basically like, we were talking about the old projects that we had worked on and stuff, like I don't think a lot of people know how long we've been doing this. But also I wanted to like kind of touch on like how like we come from like a Christian background.
Amen, brother.
So Mario and I used to have our own, you know, bands. He had his Medicina.
Right.
I had mine, Ariel, and we used to do the Christian thing. Like we used to play at all the churches, the Christian events and stuff. So we go way back like that. So you know, a lot of people don't. I don't think most people know that.
No, especially nowadays, man. Like I'll play somewhere and I'm talking to somebody and I'll tell them like my story and how I was a pastor at one point, and they're like, "What?
That's crazy.
What happened?" You know,
it feels like here? Yeah, dude, it feels like another lifetime, right? At least for me, like some stuff feels like it was like in a past life or something like that.
Yeah, because you're so far removed from that now that you're. It's almost like it never happened, you know. Yeah. But I'm grateful, man, that I came up that way, because now I realize, like, I guess hindsight is 20/20, as they say. I realize how much that helped me, because you know how it is in Latino churches. Like I started playing music at Latino church, and at church we would play, like, I remember we had this thing called cantos especiales, like special songs.
Yeah.
and anybody could just get up and sing whatever, and you had to play.
Yeah.
So sometimes people would get up and sing a ranchera or a pop song, and you just had to know how to. It was like magic that you had to know how to play that stuff.
Yeah.
And it molded me into, like, it really developed my ear.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the things that works in our favor, and because most of the people in the band that I play with now, they came up the same way. So we could really play almost anything they throw at us, and we don't. It doesn't feel weird because that's what we
used
grew
to
up
that.
doing,
like,
you know.
Yeah, it's
and
like
a lot of people are
normal
like,
to
"Oh my god, you guys don't only play country, you guys can play." Because during our live show, we play Justin Timberlake, we play Bruno Mars, we play Michael Jackson, we play Elton John, we play stuff like that, and people are like, "Wow, you know, you guys are not just a country band."
Yeah,
but that's just because of our upbringing, because you know how it is at Mexican church, man. Anybody wants to sing, and then the songs go on for 2 hours, 3 hours. It's like baptism by fire, you know. But it was cool, man, and it made me into a more well-rounded musician. So I appreciate it.
And just to let people know, he plays with Frank Gray, country artist Frank Gray. I don't think we've mentioned that, but if you're not familiar with
him
Mar,
out.
then you know Frank Gray is
Frank Gray
awesome.
Music, all of social media. I'm promoting my boy over here.
Yeah, Frank Gray, amazing talent. I think he's one of those artists that's like true, like, to the game. Like he actually he's talented. Like he can write.
You know what?
He can sing. He can play.
I tell him, like, every now it's very fulfilling for me as a musician to play alongside a guy with that level of talent, man. Like I hear him sing every night that we play, and I'm like, this is one of the best singers I've ever played with, you know. And then we do country shows, and we've gotten to share the stage with people, big names, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's either comparable or better at times, you know, when it comes vocally, and also he writes great songs, and he's very well rounded as an artist, he's a great entertainer.
Oh yeah, and he's got charm. I think he's very he's got what you call ángel, like in Spanish, like that. He's
charisma.
He's got lots of charisma. I think I think people connect with him. You know what I mean? Like
well, it was funny the way that we met, because I used to play for another country local guy, and we did a battle of the bands back 4 years ago in Las Cruces. And when I saw him sing for the first time, I was like, "Oh shoot, this guy's really good." I thought about it at the moment. I was like, "Man, I would really love to work with this guy one day." And 3 years later, we were working together.
Yeah.
So
and you guys have done a lot during this time. I talk to Oscar every once in a while. You know,
Oscar's our manager.
Oscar's Frank Gray's manager, and the band. So he very, very, very wise. Dude, business guy, and I like to talk to him just to pick his brain a lot of the times. And you guys have done a lot, man. You guys have done a lot, and so sometimes people, especially now with social media, it's, you know, like with doing the whole music thing, sometimes I think it's perception. You know, people think it's like they say, fake it till you make it. You guys are definitely not that. You guys are out there touring. You guys are out there consistently just grinding, bro. Like, and I've seen that, like, and it shows, you know, the 3 years that you guys have been working, it's just like you guys keep going up the ladder, you know what I mean? Higher and higher and higher.
You know what it is? One of the things Oscar always mentions is that in anything in life, in business, any business, especially the music industry, you always have to be willing to do what 90% of the other artists or bands aren't willing to do. And we get that a lot. Like we get people tell us, "Wow, man, you guys drive so far, and you guys are in a van, and you guys are going from," because especially in the beginning, our routing wasn't the best.
Yeah.
There was this one time when we had to drive from Key West, Florida, up to Oregon, man. That's
like opposite
opposite sides.
Yeah.
It was like a 30, 40, 35 hours trip. I don't remember how long it was. But we did it because we were going to play a show with Dan and Shay in Oregon. We got invited. And you don't say no to that, you know?
Yeah.
And because we do those kind of shows, we built a fan base, and and little by little, man, it started snowballing to where we started getting calls from record labels.
Oh, really?
From Sony, from Warner, from Broken Bowl, labels that, you know, that are legitimate labels that everybody knows about. And one of the things they would say to Oscar in the meetings is that, you know, we've been watching you guys.
Okay.
We're tracking you. We know what you guys are doing. So for all people out there that are grinding and thinking that nobody's noticing, if you're doing things right, people are gonna notice. Mm-hmm. But you have to be willing to work hard. You really have to. You have to outwork everybody else.
Yeah,
that's what it takes.
I think people. Or I don't think people realize how small the industry is. Like how small the industry really is. Like the people that actually call the shots and make the calls and do all that. Those people, like it's only, you know, there's only so many PRs.
And they all,
like
legitimate, they all know each other.
They all know each other. The legitimate ones, because there's always, you know, the up and coming ones, the ones that are learning, they're under somebody's wing or somebody or people that are trying to break into it. Like, you know, aspiring managers, aspiring publicists, but the ones that are already in the game established, they all know each other, and there's not that many of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so when you're doing things right, people do notice, people take notice, and people do talk about you, and they do like vouch for you if it comes down to that. You know what I mean? And I think that's why it's very important. I always talk about this, and I always say this on social media, because I like to. If you follow me on social media, I like to write inspirational things or motivational things just because of things that I've learned and that I've gone through. And I think one of them is, like, one big one is, like, not to burn bridges, especially in the industry, because word will get around and you do get blacklisted. You do get, you know, like, even if it's not, like, something that's, like, addressed or talked about directly, people do put you on their shit list.
Well, especially because... since it's so competitive now, the money that goes into it's a lot, and nobody wants to be dealing with somebody who's gonna be a problem in the future.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
That's another thing that I've seen a lot. That it's really turned. I guess it used to be more romantic, you know, when it came to music. You had the Doors and people like that, you know, people that would be on stage and be drunk, and that was part of their mystique, you know.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you have to be on your A game.
Yeah.
If not, because there's always somebody right behind you or next to you trying to take your spot. You know?
And that's more disciplined, that's working harder, or just as hard, and that's less of a liability.
Exactly.
I guess you could say. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally feel that, man. And you know, going back to so we've kind of changed, we've kind of jumped around, but I mean, everything, it comes down to the music, because that's you know, that's our common denominator. Yeah. And sorry, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I changed the music. I changed the station.
I'm like, switch it up. What are we listening
switch
to?
It up a little bit. This is a new Ed Sheeran with Justin Bieber. Did you see his plate or his track list, dude?
I haven't.
Dude, he's got everybody on there. Like for his new album, he's got obviously Justin Bieber. He's got Cardi B. He's got 50 Cent. He's got Eminem. He's got Travis Scott. He's got like all the heavyweights. So I'm excited to hear that. But
wow.
Anyway, going back to dude, you got Ed Sheeran is like, I think he's one of the biggest like stars in the world, but he doesn't really like act like it. I guess you can say he's just
I think it's because also just the way his performances are. You know, sometimes it's just I've seen him play big time festivals with just his guitar and his loop pedal. You know?
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
He can bring the house down.
I think he's just like he keeps it real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think he's trying to be this big pop star that he is.
And some people, like you said, like when you were referring to Frank, some people just have this thing, you know, that just draws people.
Yeah, exactly. They just draw people. So, going back to, I guess, you know, we were talking about evolving as musicians. You know, I think right now I do get a lot of we do get comments here and there, and people talking like, hey, well, why'd you guys, especially the first, like, because we have these fans, and it's like this group of fans that they're called the Versus, right? And they support us no matter what we do. And if you're not familiar, I play in a band called Savers, or I guess it's a group now, like a pop group. It used to be a band.
I used to play guitar
for it, and now I sing kind of in there. And but anyway, so because of that, you know, our music started very like pop rock. There was guitars, there was distortion, and as time has passed, you know, and we've been in the game, like in the industry, we've evolved. Also, we've experimented with new sounds and stuff. So right now, our music has that reggaeton feel. It's still pop, but it has a little reggaeton, little spice there. And we do get people asking like, hey, well, when are you guys gonna start putting out some more rock music or things like that? But people don't understand. Like, for example, for me, making a rock song is comfortable. I can get a guitar, write rock songs and probably good rock songs.
It's your element.
Yeah, it's my element. It's easy. Not that it's easy, but it's just I feel more comfortable doing that, and it'll probably flow a lot better. So when making these new songs with this new sound, it really pushes us. It's really pushed us, and I do believe we've evolved because it's taken us out of our comfort zone, and really just made us look at things or even hear like sounds. And just I admire. There's a lot of producers out there that make reggaeton music that I admire, because it's not as easy as people think. People think maybe the old reggaeton was probably like the easy, like just the same beat and here.
But even then, like when it comes to easy, like, you know, people always say that. I think people have a misconception because of the way that it's presented.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen. There's a video that I've seen so many times go around social media about a girl that can't sing. And she's behind the booth, and the engineer's making her sound great. Yeah. People really think it's like that, you know. and when there's people that go in there and comment, like if they know, they're like, yeah, that's what the industry is full of, and that's how it is.
Yeah,
you have no idea, man. You have no idea how, like, honestly, like that's just a parody, but it's not. That's not. Computers are not there yet to where you just press a button and everybody sounds perfect. You know,
everything sounds beautiful.
There's a lot of things that go into recording a vocal. Even I just got done tracking vocals, vocal coaching on Brian Mars, which is a local country guy, and you could have 3 or 4 takes of that vocal track of that one section of a song that he's singing.
Yeah,
but just to capture the right feel for the song.
Exactly.
And people don't understand these things. People think that because people don't hear things like that, you know, or they just haven't been exposed to it. But when you go into the studio, even if there's a track that the intonation wasn't perfect, but if the feel was perfect, then you work with it, because that's what that song requires. And people nowadays think it's just computers, you know.
People think it's just auto-tune. Yeah. And it's like, how do you even
know?
And
they say it's so, like, I bet you that if you asked them what is auto-tune, they wouldn't even be able to tell you.
They'd probably be like, to sound like T-Pain.
Yeah, that's what they say, but they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know? And there's a lot of people that talk out there that out of ignorance, you know, and I get it, but I think that as much as it's easy to voice your opinion nowadays.
Oh, you got a call. I got a phone call. That has been rejected. Here we go. There it is. Go ahead.
As much as there's a freedom to voice your opinion nowadays, I think there's also a responsibility that if you're gonna talk, you need to be able to substantiate what you're saying with knowledge. Because I'm telling you, I look at the comments when I see this video and they're like, yeah, that's how everybody is nowadays. There's no talent. I'm like, okay, go to a studio and make a record. If it doesn't take any talent, go do it yourself, you know? And really, sometimes it's even harder now because there's all this new stuff coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, like you were talking about evolving, you know that, like, you know people in the industry, I know people in the industry that complain about how things have changed because it's so hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
And really only those people that are driven and talented are able to pick up and not sound old.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
There's a lot of bands out there that sound like 10 years old already, and you could tell because they're not up to date with what's new, with what people like to hear nowadays. And all of that takes a lot of hard work and a lot of talent.
And I think it's also one of those things that people, you know, there's a lot of people out there because I talk to musicians and bands all the time, and they have this thing where they get married to their art, like they marry their art and their ideas, and it's like, well, they're not open to evolving. They're not like, they see it as a bad thing. They see it as a negative thing. So if you sound a little commercial, if you're adapting to changes and to new sounds, etc., you're a sellout.
We get some of that with Frank, because when our first EP that we put out sounded a little bit more. I liked it because I thought it was a good blend of traditional and new.
Yeah.
But when we started putting out the singles that were recorded in Nashville, they sound more Nashville, more pop right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were like, "Oh, you guys are selling out. You guys are turning pop." But you know, you kind of have to cater to what people are listening to nowadays. You know, at least this is one of the things that I've always believed as a musician. If you're gonna be a musician that lives off their art, you know,
yeah.
If you're gonna be in the industry, if you're gonna be living off your sales and your shows, then you need to put out product out there that people like more than you like it.
Exactly, that's appealing. At the end of the day, you're making music for them. And you know, I'm not ignoring you. I was actually looking up my favorite song, or one of my favorite songs from Frank Gray, which I'm gonna play right now. It's called Tequila Mockingbird, and I think this is one of the songs that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's one of the newer songs. But I mean, when I heard the first, because before we recorded that song, our manager Oscar, he sent a couple of songs to us that had been written for Frank, that were supposed to be recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you know, I want you guys to listen and tell me what you guys think of the songs. And when I heard the demo for that song, I was like, oh, that's a song
hit right there.
Yeah, that's a song right there. And it's a song that's done a lot of good for Frank and for us.
Yeah.
And it's I have a crazy story if you allow me to tell.
Of course.
So when we were when those songs were gonna get recorded, our manager told us, you know, the producer that we're gonna use wants to use his team.
Okay.
So on this song, the guys that are gonna record are gonna be Nashville guys.
Okay.
And you know that's how it is.
Yeah.
And as much as you're proud of your craft or whatever, that's the thing that we're talking about. Like, you have to be willing to do what it takes.
Exactly.
And the reason, but see, I guess the reason why for us it was easy to understand was because when I record stuff when I produce for other people, I use my team too.
Exactly.
I bring the musicians that I trust, the people that I've always worked with, because I know what I can get out of them, you know? So it was understood. So what happened, they recorded it, but it was so cool because a couple months later, we got to perform that song live in Nashville.
Okay.
And the guy who recorded the bass, his name is Joe Shimei.
Okay.
Joe played on the Wall, the record by Pink Floyd.
Dang.
He's on tour with Peter Cetera right now. I mean, he's a badass.
Yeah.
He's an LA guy actually.
Nice shit.
And when I was walking off stage, he turns around, he looks at me, he's like, "Come here," and I'm like, I know he was talking to me, you know, and then come here. And I was like, he's like, "Yeah, you," and he just came and gave me a hug. And he, you know what he told me? He was like, "You guys are badass, and you guys are gonna make it."
Hell yeah!
Once a guy like that told me that, I was like, "Sorry, El Paso people, I don't really care about what anybody else says." You know, I'm being completely honest, man.
I think, and that's awesome, dude. Because sometimes I think that, you know how we don't get a lot of love, locally, and I think it happens to most artists. Most artists who, it doesn't matter what town they're in, what city they're in. They don't get the love from the locals, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like a normal thing. Like, people either they're hating on you or they don't care about you.
You know, but I think I don't know, maybe I'm being idealistic, but I think that can change. Like for say like me, honestly, I really try to. I'll go support my local friends. Yeah, as much as I can, because at the end of the day, I think we're all just trying to make it. We're all just trying to get there. So I do like it, man. When I'm in town, I go out. It's usually during the week on Wednesdays. Wednesday, Thursdays. If anybody wants to go out and have a drink, let me know. And that's my days off.
You'll have his support for sure.
And I like to go go see the local bands, and support them, because I remember when I started playing on Wednesdays, I used to play at Cocoa Bar.
Yeah.
And we're playing country at Cocoa Bar on Wednesdays, and some days it was good, some days it wasn't so good. But I know how hard you have to work. So for me, man, I'm willing to always help anybody who wants to. Ooh, you're a busy guy, man.
Yeah.
What can we
there
say?
You go.
And you just have to. I don't know. For me, I'm always willing to help, and always willing to work with anybody that's willing to work hard. I'm working right now with Brian Mars. I've mentioned him earlier.
Yes.
And
he's dope. He's dope. I like Brian Mars.
And we're excited because we're just about to launch his first single, and I did all the production. I work with a team that I have, LJ and Larry, which are good friends of ours. They're investors in the project, the Brian Mars project, and we're just working, man. We're just working, and that's kind of my way to, I wouldn't say give back, but to keep in touch with the local scene, to be doing something for the local scene.
Yeah.
Now that I'm being exposed to the major leagues,
Which I think it's important, you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes, I think it's also a good way to stay level-headed, because it's very easy to get caught up in the game. It's very easy, especially when you're out there in Nashville or Miami or wherever. In our case, we're in Miami a lot, and people treat you like
it's
royalty.
intoxicating sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, like they treat you like a rock star, and it's really good to be able to come back home and get back, get your feet back on the ground. And I think that is also very helpful, helping people. In my case, I have Soundstage 9, which is my academy, and I get to work with a lot of the kids and up and coming talent and stuff. So for me, it's always very easy to just come back down and just not believe the hype. And I always talk about this because once you start believing your own hype and thinking you're the shit, I think that's when things can start going down pretty easily.
It's really easy to lose your footing. I've seen it, but I think surrounding yourself with good people and a good team and people that are just hard workers. That's one of the things that I really feel fortunate about the team that I work with, is that Oscar is a self-made businessman, and so he's got that ethic. He's got that. We play hard sometimes, but we work hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I tell you, we've been asked to do things that it's like, oh my God, you got to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning to be at a show, a sound check at 10 at another city.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't get to eat and stuff like that. But you just got to be able to do all that kind of stuff, man, because at the end of the day, you get those times like you were saying, like the royalty treatment. When it happens, it's like it's enjoyable.
Yes, I made it.
It's sweet. that show that I was telling you that we played in Tennessee, where that guy gave me that hug. I thought it was so funny, man, because everybody who sang at that concert, Old Dominion was there, Hunter Hayes was there, and then everybody else were like award-winning songwriters. The lady who won, who wrote "Humble and Kind" by Tim McGraw, she was there, and we're like, everybody here has some CMA or Grammy award to their name, and all we had was a #1 Texas country hit. We felt it was cool because we knew we had no business being there.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at it in that perspective, but when we performed, everybody was like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
Where they come from. But we put ourselves in those situations because we work hard.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's just a matter of time, honestly. And I tell Oscar too all the time, like, so you guys are there and you belong there. You know what I mean? You belong there even though you may not have a CMA yet or a Grammy yet. It's going to happen because it's like they say, I mean, whoever you're surrounding yourself with, that's what you're going to end up. That's what you're going to end up becoming or doing. You know
honestly, like, I think that's another thing that we have as a team. We're realistic, so I don't think a person like Oscar would be investing in a company that he didn't believe was going to get as far as it could get,
Exactly.
And I think for me as a musician, I wouldn't be spending all my time in a project where I didn't think was going anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a blind belief because I've been there. I've seen it. We've played so many shows in Nashville. We're headed back in July, and every time we've gone, the response is, it's always like, "Who are you guys? Where are you guys from? Where have you been?
Where have you been?" Yeah.
And now, more people get to know us. And last year we did really well on the statistics for the streaming for Spotify at the end of the year.
Okay.
We were comparable to a lot of the people that are on bigger tours than us, and those are little things that allow you to see where things are going and
puts things in perspective.
Yeah, and they drive you to, because you're not, as you said, I also believe it's a matter of time. It might be wrong for me to say it because I'm part of the project, but I do believe it's a matter of time for us to get on a big tour with a big name and just start building our fan base at the more visible level, because we are at a national level. I just saw 2 days ago, I was telling LJ about it, that we actually made a Billboard chart.
Oh shit!
And
congratulations.
The thing is that they only published the top 60 and we're like 66.
Oh, okay.
But hey, maybe in a couple of months we'll be.
You're on there, bro. You're on there.
Like, and we're there with pretty cool names,
Yeah, I think that's the important thing. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at on the charts. What matters is that you're there, because from there, all you have to do is just keep pushing it to get higher and higher on the charts. You know what I mean? So, yeah, congratulations, man. Thanks, I know, man. That's super dope.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's those things that. It's funny because every time we hit like a plateau, which it's not, I wouldn't really call them plateaus, but we'll hit like a week or two where things are quiet and you're like, and then something pops up, and like, hey, and Oscar's always sending us like a group text and, oh, this just happened, or this just happened, or we just got nominated for that, and it's those things that keep you going, because you're heading in the right direction. It's just a matter, like Frank always says, just stay the course, guys. Just stay the course, and we'll get there.
Exactly. So I think I want to talk a little bit about how, because a lot of people, their perspective is, especially with you guys, that you guys are out doing your thing, that people think that it's glamorous all the time, and that it's, oh, well, that's fun. How fun that you're out there on tour. And like you mentioned earlier, sometimes you don't even get to eat. And people don't know that.
Well, they don't know that. Anybody who's dealt with live performance knows that days of a show are not all they're cracked up to be.
No, they're stressful.
Anybody who's ever dealt with sound guys knows how sound guys. Sorry, sound guys, but most of sound guys are. I don't know what it is, man. Like, I don't know why a lot of them are really angry.
Yes, dude.
Like, there was this one time I got really upset. We were in Lincoln, Nebraska, I think. And the sound guy, our sound check was supposed to be at 1. Sound guy doesn't show up till like about 6. The show started at 7. And so we didn't know what to do. Like, we were waiting there for 4 or 5 hours. Mm-hmm. So when it started getting close to showtime, we started trying to do the sound. Yeah. Because we're like, what else can we do, And when he got there, we had already moved a lot of the stuff.
He got all pissed.
And he got mad. And he threw a K when he hit me, man.
Oh, dang. Like that.
And that's the time when I was really pissed off. And I went up to him. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yes.
Sorry, I can edit this thing. But
nah, it's all good. Keep it. We're gonna go all out.
And I'm like, and I was like, dude, you're the one that got here.
Yeah.
Like 5 hours late and you're pissed? We're just trying to do your job,
Yeah.
And people don't know these things. People don't know, like, that we go through stuff like that. It's not all glamorous. I mean, a lot of times it's not.
I think most of the time it's not glamorous. Like when you do, we get to do a lot of the media tours and stuff like that, and those are, it looks cool. Oh, you're on TV. It looks cool. Oh, you're on this and that, but it's not.
Even the way you're treated sometimes.
Yeah,
because people, they don't know you yet. Sometimes.
Yeah, people treat you like shit sometimes, and it's okay. Like it's understandable.
Well, that's part of what you have to have when you have to have a thick skin. Like, you get it, but that's what I'm telling you. Like, I wonder how many people would they be treated like that? Would they want to keep doing that? Mm-hmm. A lot of the people that you're saying that believe it's glamorous, like a lot of people think, oh, you guys get to take pictures with stars, and you guys have get
you
to
guys
be
are
on
there
cool
on the red
stages.
carpet.
But
and
it's
stuff.
it's not it's not all that. I mean, but the thing is that I enjoy everything, man, because it's helped me grow as a person. I just, I'll have to admit it, I guess. Growing up, dude, I grew up pretty well off, pretty sheltered. I had a really good dad, a hardworking dad. We weren't rich, but I had everything. I had the Ataris, I had all the fucking He-Mans.
all the fun
I
shit.
did have a lot of stuff, you know. and when I did the Christian music thing, we wouldn't play as often because there's really no money.
Yeah.
But when they do invite you, they put you in a pretty nice hotel most of the time. In the Christian music, they do that. But in regular music,
Shit, you sleep in the
they
van.
don't do that all the time. So it's kind of pushed me to. I've had to stay in some shady places, man.
And now, motels.
Now I'm pretty used to it. You know, now I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I don't go under the covers. Like, I just stay with my clothes on.
Dude.
I always carry my jacket just in case it gets cold, man. But it pushes you to rough it out a little bit.
Yeah.
To be more grateful and because even if I'm out there and it's a shitty hotel or it's a crappy night, whatever, I'm still doing what I love doing.
Which ultimately, that's the goal. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody can say that, you know? And I think that's really cool. And I think that's why we keep going, you know, because it's like, for me personally, it drives me to keep pushing. Like, for example, especially when we get treated like, who the fuck are you guys? You know, like.
But it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, you meet, you know, we did a couple of shows with Josh Turner, and you talk to the guys from the bands, and everything that you've gone through, or you're going through, they've gone through.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
And I think like Oscar mentioned one time, I was talking to him, that's when people weed themselves out, you know, because not everybody can handle these. They can't. A lot of people and their ego may not be able to handle rejection or even just treat it like, well, who are you? Like, you're nothing, you know. So I think so for me, you know, with Soundstage 9, I have this artist development program, and for me it's very important that they know early on. I'll take them to the billboards or events that are industry events to also introduce them to that environment where they're gonna know whether they like it or not, whether this is for them or not, because of the work. Like, they have to, they're out all day, man. They're out all day doing industry stuff, learning if they choose to. And also, you know, when you're out there, I don't think people know this, but when you're out there doing these things, there's like, they make it known, like, hey, well, you're not there yet. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, there's like
levels. Yeah, there's levels.
Secret society
yeah,
levels.
Exactly. And people don't realize that. And so I introduce them to that environment because that's where they'll know for themselves. They'll be able to like say, hey, you know what? This is inspiring. I want to keep going. And some people will be like, hell
never
nah.
mind.
Like, I'm done. Like, I'm out. And it's not to discourage anybody. It's just because this, you know, I for me, time is so important, man. And I'm sure you feel the same way. Time is so important. So like, I'd rather be investing it in something that'll, you know, eventually, you know, become something that'll give fruit. You know what I mean? And so if it's something, you know, I don't really like to waste my time on anything that's not productive, you know?
Yeah, and it happens a lot with that. That's why when you find good people and a good team, you stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody has the vision and the drive to, and the work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Most importantly,
it really a lot. And like you were saying earlier, a lot of people are married to their own ideas,
mm-hmm.
and they're not open to. Especially, it happens to especially like frontmen and artists that, you know, that kind of grew up playing on their own. You know, they started doing their shows. You give them any kind of input, and it's hard for them to take because they're so caught up in who they want to be or what they want to say, but they don't realize that a lot of times things exist for a reason. Like, for example, when you're an artist, when you're a band, you need a producer, because a producer is gonna see things that you don't see. A producer is gonna try to bring out the better performance of your vocals or the better sound of the song, and those things are necessary, and you got to be able to embrace that to grow.
And you know what? To add to that, I think it's because sometimes as artists, nothing we work on is ever good enough. So that's why there's producers also, to be able to say like, yo man, this is done. Like, this is a good song. Let's put this shit out. Like, let's stop like
tweaking it.
Yeah, tweaking it, overanalyzing. Just let me do my job. Let's put it out. Because dude, I know a lot of people, very talented, man. Like extremely talented. And that's like when it's even worse, because these people are super talented and they end up like taking years to put music out, you know what I mean, like, or to do anything.
Because they're never happy with it.
They're never happy with it. And right now with the game, with the industry, how you know how it's going, everything changes like every week, dude. You know what I mean? So it's like you're working
Oscar talks about that all the time, man. Like, we go to Nashville and there's something new.
Yeah.
And whatever you believed a month ago, it's like
it's not that anymore. And so imagine 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So like music, it'll be dated by then. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why it's important that, you know, it's very important to have a student mentality when you're getting into this. Jay-Z said it. You know, I actually posted a clip of him saying like, if you're not gonna like adapt, if you're not gonna do what, you know, if you're not gonna be open to what people want to listen to and all that stuff, then just go to your basement, make music there
for yourself,
and don't try to get in the game. Don't put it on Spotify, don't put it on SoundCloud. Like,
just amaze yourself.
Yeah, just for yourself, which is cool too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because this is not for everybody. Like, this
and I understand, like, some people are happy like playing at a bar all the time. They're truly happy, and at the end of the day, like, if you're doing what makes you happy, more power to you. You know,
exactly.
If you're truly happy at the end of the day, if that's what makes you tick and you feel accomplished,
it's all good. You don't have to be. It's not. You don't have to want to be like a mega star or go on tour or do all these things. If you're happy playing covers at a bar or whatever it may be, shit, that's all good.
And there's people that are cut out for that. You know?
Yeah. There's people that are great for that. Yeah. And it's awesome. You know, it's about whatever makes you happy, and especially nowadays, man, like with so much out there on social media, and everybody has their own definition of success. I think for me, like, it's changed so much. For me, honestly, it's just doing what you're happy with, like just doing whatever you're happy with, and being able to live off of it.
Well, some of the best times you can remember is usually when you're with people that you care about. You know, that's really what it's about. Like, I think at least for me, music is just a way of getting to know a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I've had some of the best times with people that I meet. Like we were talking earlier. Like, sometimes you have those days where you get treated well. Like, sometimes we've gone to. For some reason we go a lot to Alabama.
Okay.
Like we just built a fan base.
Yeah.
Right? And every time we go, people show up, and we've made a lot of friends. And one of those days, this lady that we met, she was like, "Hey, I want you guys to come to my house." And so we go to her house with her husband, and they live like by a lake. Their backyard is a lake, and they're cooking for us and making all. She made me like a Jack and Coke like this big.
Oh damn!
You know how I don't know what that. I don't know how I was after that, but it's those days that you're like, man, you know, this is worth it, you know, because you meet great people, and then you get to enjoy things that you don't have here in El Paso, maybe, you know, or and those are the things that make it worthwhile for me more than I love playing live, man. That's one of the things that I really enjoy the most. But just what I've learned from everything that I've done and being able to apply it in my life, not only when it comes to music, but when it comes to your relationships, to your friends, to anything that you do. And I'm always involved, man, in music. I just live it at a pretty deep level. Like, I'll sit at my house, and I started a vinyl record collection like about 2 years ago, and whenever I go out of town, I'll look for record stores and I'll buy vinyls, you know. And for me, it's like one of my favorite things is just to sit there and listen to what the bass is doing, what the drums are doing. Music is just that part of my life where I don't think it'll ever go away, man. But being able to live off it and being able to travel, and that's kind of my success story.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's what it is. It's being able to look at my calendar and see 3, 4, 5, 6 shows coming up, you know, and kind of envisioning how it's gonna be, like how it's gonna feel like, you know. And some shows are better than how you envision them. Some shows are not, but it's a fun ride. Definitely, it's exhilarating, and it's a rush when you know, when you're about to play a show, especially when you're playing for a big crowd and for people that are there to listen. And that's one of the things in Nashville, man. People really listen. I love going out there because people are there to see a show, and it pulls out the best in you to perform your best, to
give them what they paid for.
Yeah, man. It's
put on a show for them. Entertain.
I guess anybody that loves what they do would understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You know, when you're passionate about what you do, at the moment that you're doing what you love doing, it's like heaven, man.
Yeah. I totally feel it, man. I wanted to talk about a little bit. I wanted to touch on the subject of, you know, since we're talking about music and, you know, we're talking about touring and about pretty much like everything or a lot of the things we go through as active musicians and artists. How's your dating life or your love life, you know? Because I think back in the day, whenever you like talk about like being in a band or doing music, maybe like in like or like early 20s or whatever, it was like cool. So hey, I'm in a band. Oh shit, no way, that's awesome. Like I think like now I don't think it's seen like as cool. It's kind of like
it changes also when you're older, because automatically here in El Paso, well, that's where I've dated, right, mostly. Yeah. Well,
a little bit of
everywhere, I guess, but
different area codes.
But what I'm saying is that when you tell women that are over 30, like you're in a band, they think you play at a bar every weekend.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they think. So when you show them what you're doing, they're like, oh, well, you know, some of them are like, oh wow, you know, it's a more serious thing, you know. But I don't know, man. I guess the hardest thing is just that I'm not here. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to. I've been divorced for a little bit over 1.5 years already, and I guess I've dated, and I guess one of the issues is that I have to go so much.
Okay,
that's one of the issues. But then again, I'm kind of happy where I'm at. You know, I'm enjoying my life. I spend a lot of time with my daughter, because I told you I grew up with my dad being very involved in my life, and my dad was a very good man. At least he was a very good dad. And so I always say this, but I feel like I can't give my daughter any less than what I had as a father, you know? So usually when I get back from a tour, the first day that I get back, or the day if I get here too late, then the next day she'll stay with me for that one day, or 2 days, you know. Mm-hmm. And I always come back. Just she's my priority right now, you know.
Yeah.
And then if I'm dating, well, I usually find time to go out and see whoever is that I'm talking to or seeing or trying to build something with. But I'm giving it time, man. You know, but yeah, like when you're older and you're still doing the music thing, a lot of people doubt you. You know? Yeah. A lot of people. But it's natural, proper. You know. And the thing is that I've learned to not take things personally. You know, this all goes back to something that you and I have talked about in private. We've talked about mental health.
Yeah.
And for me, I started doing therapy right after. Actually, when I started my divorce, that's when I started doing therapy, and it taught me a lot, man. And one of those things is that I kind of put myself in people's shoes now. So if I'm seeing somebody, I understand them. Mm-hmm. I understand their concerns. I don't take it personal. I don't think they're being mean because they're afraid that I'm never here. Like, I get it. That's a legitimate concern. You know, how can you build something when you're not here? But I think those things happen on their own, man. Like, the right person is going to come along. And when it happens, it's going to happen, you know? And for now, I'm just meeting people and talking to people and going out every now. It changes sometimes. Sometimes I'm dating a lot, you know, and then sometimes it's kind of like I'm more, like right now I'm going through a phase where I'm really concentrating on the Brian Marsh project. So, and of course with Frank, because we have a pretty big show coming up in July, and we're rehearsing. We rehearsed yesterday. We're rehearsing today, and so it's just busy for me. But I want to ask you a question. How is that reggaeton thing working out with your music videos and having a wife?
Let me tell you, I think you're in the perfect situation right now that you're not, you know, with anybody, because it is hard. You know, it is hard for people to deal with this stuff. You know, especially like if you're married. If you, like in my case, I'm married. Actually, as a matter of fact, 3/4 of the band, you know, we're married. Serious relationship with the fourth guy, and it's tough, dude, because you know, in this, I guess this particular genre, you know, you know, we just shot a video which actually comes out tomorrow, or I don't know when this is gonna air, but it comes out. It's gonna come out in this.
You could say the date, I guess.
It comes out. June 20th, Thursday, June 20th. Check it out. ¿Por qué? On all social media platforms. Nah, just kidding. So, this video, man, we had a lot of, you know, like models and friends that came out and were part of it, and obviously, you know, it was a pool party. You know, it was a pool party.
I've seen parts of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's you know, people in bikinis and things like that. So I can understand why it could be upsetting to our wives and stuff. But it is, what people don't understand, and it's all a show. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like to me, it's even funny, like me being in the equation, like there. You know,
especially you coming from a rock
band, actually, and we all come from rock bands.
Because the videos you've done before are pretty dark.
They're dark, serious, dramatic, and like, you know, it's just the band or whatever. It's not as crazy. I guess it's not as, you know, like it's not as flashy.
We did a video like that when I was married with Dave Mack.
Oh, I remember. I remember you guys.
And
yeah.
I kind of just stayed away from all, like, you know, I just played the bass. I stayed away from the scenes
from the action.
Yeah, I mean, because I had never had that experience in my life where we shot a video.
It's
like
awkward,
that.
Right? It's kind of weird. Like, at least for me, like, it's just kind of weird.
It messes with you because I guess there's a lot of reasons, because of your upbringing.
Yeah,
you know, your moral upbringing.
That's true.
And then also being a dad.
Mm-hmm.
I think you kind of look at your kids and you're like,
well, and again,
should I allow them to see this or not?
And again, like, for example, like I think our video is very, it's, I don't know, I would say like PG-13. It's nothing crazy, you know, but it's just how people look at it, and it's like they don't understand. Like, for example, this video, they don't understand that it's a dream. So it's supposed to be like, oh my god, like this is this dude's, like, you know, this dude's dream, like he's daydreaming, and this is where he goes off to, you know what I mean? I think,
which is where most dudes probably go off.
Anyway, I think people can relate, you know, but again, for me, and this is a job, and it's a show, you know, it's not who we really are. Like, again, for me, it's very kind of, it's funny to even like see it as a real thing. Like, if my wife would get upset or anything, for me it's like, dude, this is just like I don't even, like, for me it's not even real, you know. I don't see it as like, oh wow, this is my life. No, this is just a job, and I have to play the part. I'm just acting in a way, and that's it, you know. And I think most people, and I understand, most people can't deal with that, you know, because not only that, but you go, you know, playing at shows, there's always gonna be women or men, you know. If you're a chick, there's gonna be men and who are gonna be interested in you and stuff. And I think I think
as husbands, people, I was married once. I think women deal with that more. The attention wherever they go.
Oh yeah.
There's always somebody trying to hit on them. And, I remember that used to happen with my ex-wife, but you kind of have to be sure of what you are and what you have, and understand that those things are part of life,
and not take it personal. It's just part of the game. It's especially if you're married to somebody who's attractive. It comes with the territory, and you have to. If you can't deal with it, then don't marry them. Don't be with them, because there is people that get a lot of attention, and it's and doesn't matter how mad you get, and it's not gonna stop.
You have to keep grounded too, like when you're the artist, because that's one of the things that I do worry about when it comes to dating. I would like to meet somebody beforehand.
Before you guys get bigger.
Yeah, because I've seen that, like, when people perceive that they perceive you as famous, or they think you're somebody, it's hard to trust.
You may not get the real them.
Yeah,
they may like that and I always talk about this with my friends, because people do tend to see you in a different light, especially like depending on what you're doing, right? And they start seeing you, like, they have their own perception of you. They think you're this or that. But like for me, for example, with my wife, it's very important that like I tell her, for me it's me, and you've been with me from like since, like, I mean, not that I'm anything right now or anything, but
you've kind of made your mark.
Things have changed a little bit. And I can see, like, so I know that she's with me for who I am, and regardless of whatever it is that people think I am or have, she's there, and I know that she'll be there if those things are gone. If those things go away, she'll probably still be there, hopefully, but and most people, you get with this hot chick that you met at a video shoot or whatever, and she loves you and worships you, but then shit hits the fan and she's gone too. You know what I mean? I've been, I've dealt with a lot of, when I started getting into business, I started realizing how, like, people change, and you have people that'll be with you through thick and thin, and then there's people that just come and they're only there for, like, just as long as it's convenient for them, and as long as it's good for them and it works out for them, they're there. But dude, they'll turn on you like that. Sometimes you don't even have to do anything. It's just you don't work for them, like, or it doesn't work out for them anymore. They don't need you anymore. So
yeah, that's the one thing that I would tell you. Like, that's the one worry that I'm like, if we hit it big, it's gonna be hard to tell who's on your side because of you. I am seeing somebody right now, and it's been good,
Shout out to. Nah, I'm just kidding.
But I'm taking my time, and because there's also things that I want to accomplish by myself, aside from the Frank thing. That's my priority right now. But like I tell you, I'm working on building my brand as a producer, and I have that other project that I talked to you about to help people with mental health issues.
Like, yeah, which I think is mental health is something that's very, very common in artists. We struggle a lot with with a lot of different things, anxiety.
One of the things that opened up my eyes was actually because of you. So I remember you posted one time a question about how people deal with mental health and anxiety issues and depression and stuff. You posted something like that, and a lot of people that we have in common started answering you, and I was like, wow, a lot of us could use some help, and it's funny because it's very common, but it's also something that's, when it comes to resources and getting help and just talking about it, it's still very much in the dark. It's still very much ignored. I think I do see a lot more people talking about it, but it's still something that I think has a stigma to it, and people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to say they're depressed or they have anxiety or they don't know how to deal with it, and that's why I'm passionate about that topic, because I did the therapy that I tell you after my divorce, and I saw the change, the positive change in me. We're always a work in progress, you know. I'm always working on myself, but I can look back from 2 years before, and I'm like, wow, you know, sometimes I was in a very dark place, and thankfully I haven't felt like that anymore. In 2 years, I felt, you know, when I have a bad day, I just deal with it, and you kind of just learn that just as good times don't last, the bad times don't either, you know. They go away, you know. Sometimes you have a bad day, and then the next day turns out to be a great day, you know, and so you always just have to keep going, you know, keep grinding. But yeah, maybe we can talk about that at another time. But
no, I think it's important. I mean, like, I think it's cool. I think a lot of it, man, and I always bring social media up for everything, but I honestly think that some people have a hard time expressing it, or even just wanting to put it out there, just because, you know, you're supposed to be like, social media is like a highlight reel.
Yeah.
It's just all the good shit, you know. It's all the positive, all the good. It's never like when you're getting evicted, or you're like your car got repoed,
but you know what?
It
always is that. I think one of the things that we lack as a race of human beings, you know, I think we lack a lot of empathy and compassion, because sometimes there are people who vent, and they get criticized.
Yeah.
You know, people will be like, oh, I just had a breakup, and like, it's none of our business, so what? So it's almost like people just want the good stuff. That's why people kind of are forced to put the good stuff out there.
Yes.
But I think, I guess what I would say to that, whoever's going through stuff like that, reach out for help. Maybe it's not the best thing to reach out to the whole world on social media, but there's always people, you know, try to find people that you can approach, that you can talk to, that you can open up to about, because sometimes just talking about something makes you feel better, you know. Just letting it out. It's a fine line, man. I don't know who's got the right way of doing social media. You know? I mean, I wouldn't know, like, who's got the perfect balance between posting.
I don't think there is.
I don't.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, but at the end of the day, man, like, just be yourself, and surround yourself with people that you can call on a rainy day. You know, and people that can help you out, and try to find them, you know. But just like anything in life, good things have a cost. And I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about, because a lot of people, they won't nourish a relationship ever, and then when they're having a bad day, they have nobody to run to, because they never. So everything has a cost, you know. If I want to have friends that value me, well, I have to value them. You know, it's a reciprocating relationship. You know, you have to give into a relationship in order to be able to get back. And I think that's kind of where I think a lot of people avoid real relationships and real contact with people through social media. You know, and just because they get a likes, they think they have a lot of friends. But then when they're having a crappy day, they realize that none of those people that like you want to talk to you. You know, because
they don't really care.
Because they don't really care. They just like your butt on the on the picture, you know, or they just like, you know, you see it all the time. It really is like that. And so I would say, don't isolate yourself, but know that if you want relationships with good people, you have to bring something to the table, because we all need each other, you know. We all need, so yeah, I mean, I think for me, social media is more of a platform for me to,
it's a tool. It's nothing but a tool. And I think people, you know, what I would recommend is stop or don't compare yourself to anybody, because what happens is that, again, you have all these highlight reels of everybody. I'm on vacation in Hawaii. I'm on vacation in Europe. I just had
yeah,
exactly. You're I don't know, here at Elephant Butte.
fishing.
Yeah. So
for shoes.
I think that affects people a lot, like just comparing themselves, because they see all these people doing all these things, and they're at home just watching, what they're doing, and some people are affected by it. So I think it's important to know that social media is just a tool. It's a highlight reel. You don't believe everything that you see on there. Don't see it as like, oh my god, this person's better than me because they're doing this and that. Nah, dude, like everybody's got their own journey.
Yeah.
You need to embrace your journey. You need to just focus on you and what you have going on. And I think that itself helps a lot. I just not comparing yourself to other people. So that's what I meant about just people just putting all the positive stuff, which is cool. It's all good. It's all good if you're posting all your accomplishments and stuff. That's totally cool. But there is people out there that are affected by it for whatever reason. Maybe they have low self-esteem, or maybe they're in a bad place in life. But yeah,
but it happens to all of us. Like it's a wheel of fortune, man.
Yeah,
life is. Just know that things can turn around for you the next day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just focusing on working on what you're passionate about, keeping yourself busy with things that are building towards your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think what happens to us a lot of times is that we put value in things that have no return. We make bad investments.
Yeah.
Not only when it comes to money, but when it comes to people, when it comes to sometimes we give time to things that you're not gonna get a return for your investment, and you're still doing it. And we all do it. It's but I think learning from our mistakes is some, and knowing, like you said, that it might look like somebody's having a sweet old time,
mm-hmm.
but you don't really know.
You don't know, and you don't know what they went through to get there.
Yeah.
You don't know how much time or how many times they ate shit before they eventually got there. You know what I mean? I think people also are very judgmental in that way. That people also be like, oh, well, he's doing this or he's doing that. But you don't know, like, where this person was or how they got there. And maybe they deserve it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe they earned it. You know what I'm saying? So,
and even if somebody you think doesn't, I mean, at the end of the day, you only have your own life to live, man.
Yeah,
like
focus on your own.
Like focus on your life, like really, if there's something that you want, work for it. If there's something that you want to do it. Because again, man, some of those people that you might worry about, you may never even meet.
Yeah.
You might be worried about somebody that you're never gonna cross their path. They're never gonna be part of your life. Just focus on, because that's one of the things that I've come to realize lately, that we spend a lot of time chasing things.
Uh-huh.
But when you're dying on your deathbed one day, you're not going to be saying, no, I wish I would have spent more time looking at Luis Miguel's life, or you're going to say, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids, more time with my daughter, more time with those who I love. That's at the end of the day, that's what really matters, man. Like, those people that fulfill your life, those people that love you unconditionally, those are the people that end up mattering. So at the end of the day, if you don't have those kind of people in your life, then work on that.
Mm-hmm.
Work on building some relationships, work on getting close to people that are good people that matter, and then maybe you won't even have a need for social media one day. Maybe you just be like, I'm so busy and happy with my life that I really enjoy my time with real people.
Yeah.
But we're all and I'm not judging, I'm just saying, like, we're all at different stages in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
And like, I understand when people are reaching out for help on social media, or they're reaching out for attention, and but I think, at least for me, my choice is, I try not to judge. If I don't know anything about a person and it matters to me, it matters so much for me to have a comment, then I'll probably take time to get to know those people, and do something about it. But to just talk without, it's beyond me how people can do that.
I think people,
I know how they can, but it's like, why?
Well, I think, I had a friend, you know, at some point, and a lot of people, people would talk a lot about him, you know, like negatively, and I remember I started getting, well, I became his friend. I wasn't his friend, but I had heard about him, and people would say a lot of negative stuff, and then I got to meet him, and I got to know him, and I'd be like, yo, man, why do people always talk bad about you? Like, why? And he's like, do any, like, he pretty much put it like, he was like, no, none of those people like that talk about me even know me. Like, they don't even have my phone number. They've never even hung out with me. They don't know me personally. So it's like, I think most of the time the people that do talk about you is people that haven't even met you. They
and that's
just
what
think,
I always say that, man. I always say, like, because our country's so divided, like right now politically.
yeah,
And I've talked to people, like friends, about stuff like that, and I'm like, if you were to just get to know some of those people that you say you hate, you'd probably think, oh wow, they're pretty cool.
they're pretty cool.
At the end of the day, honestly, like, that's why I try not to do that anymore, man. I try not to have preconceived notions of people anymore.
Yeah.
You know, if it matters to me enough to talk about somebody, then I'm gonna get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can have something real to say, not just my own. Because how many times does it happen to you, man, that just by looking at somebody you make assumptions?
Yeah.
You know, we all do it.
Yeah.
And then you know that person, and you're like, oh, they're not big
what
an
I
asshole
thought.
as I
Yeah.
thought, you know, or. And then some people that you think are really nice, you meet them, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
know?
like
wow, you know. And so, if we were to break it down and get personal, it's impossible to get personal with everybody. But when we do, I think most of the time we would realize that we have more in common than we think we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And then that kind of creates a bond, you know. And you're like, you look at people and you're like, oh shoot, I was so wrong about this person.
Yeah. Like,
And I think that's, as a society, I think we need to evolve to be like that, to be more tolerant, to not talk so much without knowing the facts,
mm-hmm.
without knowing things, because at the end of the day, I would say that in my personal experience, most of the time when I've assumed something about a person, I was dead wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm the only one, you know.
No, it happens all the time. You know, like with this guy, he turned out to be a really good dude. Like I enjoyed working with him, and I got to know him. He became a friend, and people were completely wrong. At least the things that I heard. You know?
Just happened to me like about a month ago or less than 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really post a lot of videos of me playing for. I don't know what it is, man. Like, for some reason I don't do that.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen myself as a musician. I see myself more of as a songwriter.
Okay.
And more as a producer. You know, like, I like to create music. I like to work with people. And so I just posted a video playing like a little slap part on Instagram. It's like a real, like maybe like a 10-second video. And I got a message from a kid. He was like about 16, 15-year-old local kid here in El Paso. And he's like, hey, that was pretty cool. I don't know why people have told me that you couldn't play.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You're
like, who told you that shit?
No, honestly, I didn't care, you know, because
That's funny.
Because I would have never thought anybody would have said that. You know? But
I've never heard that.
But the kid was like,
about you.
The kid was like, oh, somebody had told me that you couldn't play, and I'm like, wow, he can't play, and I'm like, I just don't believe everything you hear. That's it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny how people will say stuff, but at the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, man, like, honestly, if I'm completely honest, I think it's at some point in our lives we've all fallen to being haters at times.
Yeah,
you know?
of course. I think it's human nature.
Yeah. And so I don't take it personal, man. I just try to keep doing what I'm doing, man, and don't get derailed by comments or people or negativity. Obviously, I like to think that I'm doing something right, you know?
Yeah.
And because of the kind of project that I'm able to be a part of. But even with that, man, I just think we're all trying to make it in this life. We're all trying to make our life at the best possible life we can live, you know? So I just focus on myself, and then I focus on the people that matter to me, you know? Like, like when you invited me over to do this, it's pretty excited because we're friends. You know, we don't see each other all the time, but every time we hang out, it's really cool. Like I enjoy, you know.
Yeah.
I enjoy the laughs and the stupid shit we say, you know, off the record.
Which there's a lot of shit talking, you know, behind closed doors.
Oh, people should see our group text, man. My goodness. But but I don't know, man. I'm just at a point in my life where I'm just trying to be as happy as I can be, and surround myself with people that have goals in common. You know, I'm working with, like I told you, I'm working with LJ. LJ is the owner,
Shout out Pájaro
Media is
for giving us a platform.
LJ and Rodolfo are the owners of this thing, and we've worked on stuff together. We're working right now on videos together, and those are the type of people, you know, that people that are driven, that are like-minded, people that don't worry so much about what other people are doing, but they're doers. You know, they're not talkers. They're not the audience. You know?
Exactly. They're not on the sidelines watching. I think that's awesome, and I think the way I personally handle my relationships is just, if we have to help each other grow. Like, you help me, I help you. You know, you contribute to my life, I contribute to yours, and I think that's really helped me personally. I think it's really helped my life, and you know, I try to stay away from drama, and you know, because you do see a lot of that stuff especially on social media. I see friends talking shit about each other and like all that, and for me, it's that simple. I'm very cutthroat nowadays because of the stuff that I've been through. That if you're not, like, it's kind of like if I realize that you're not good for me, I just cut you out of my life. Like, no questions asked, no conversation needed. Just you're out. You know?
Yeah, because sometimes it's like talking to the wall, man. Like, it's happened to me. You try to reason with somebody, and people sometimes they just don't get it because they're not there yet, or because it could be so many things, you know.
Yeah, it could be a lot of things that I personally. And it sounds kind of mean, but I'm just not interested in knowing what it is that you don't understand. If you don't get it, you don't get it, and cool. We don't have to be friends, you know? And so I have these relationships with, you know, we're like, for example, with LJ, you know, we had, you know, again, even with LJ, we go way back, but it's like we all contribute to each other's life in some way. But there's also a friendship there.
Yeah. Like
a genuine friendship that we can, like, also be real with each other, and like, hey man, like, you're like messing up here, or hey man, like, is everything cool here, or can I help you, and whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just all business either, you know what I mean? There is that relationship where you can keep each other accountable, and
because I think we truly genuinely care about the success of each of us, you know. Like, I've never felt like when I work with LJ on his musical projects, I wanted to bring out the best, you know.
Yeah.
When I work with you, I wanted for it to sound the best, because I guess that's the way you build something. And as opposed to what I see a lot of in the music thing is that people will like half bake shit, you know. Like, you'll go record a vocal at someplace, and the guy will be like, yeah, you sound great, give me my money, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not about that, you know. It's about pushing each other, and it's about do it again and do it again and do it again, and that's I think you have the same approach when it comes to the things you do. He's got the same approach, and so that's why we've been able to be like-minded and work together, because we push each other to. And then when it comes to personal relationships, yeah, like LJ is one of the people that was very close to me during my divorce, and you know, we would have very real conversations about life and stuff, and that's why I'm telling you that those are the types of people that I gravitate towards too, because at the end of the day, those are the things that we're gonna remember when we're older. You know, when we're playing bingo I don't know where. You know, we're gonna talk about stuff like that. We're gonna say, remember that day when I was having a shitty day? And you know, I think at the end of the day, those are the things that make life worth living. You know, just your close friends, your relationships, people you love, and just focusing on, like it's very popular to say, but it's focusing on living your best life. Nowadays,
living your best life. Hey, hashtag living your best
right?
life.
It sounds cliche, but it's
Where'd
true.
that come from? Like everybody, I see it all over.
Honestly,
People just
I
living
don't
my
know
best
where
life.
it came from, but
It's true.
It's what we're all here for. You know, we're
Yeah.
all trying to be happy and fulfilled, and we're all trying to just be the best version of ourselves. You know.
I think it's rare to find people that are genuinely happy for you when you are doing good, because there's a saying and people say, or I've seen it around a lot, and it's like people are only happy when you're doing good, or people are happy when you do good, but not as long as you're not doing better than them or something like that.
Yeah.
So as long as they'll be cool with you, but as soon as you start doing better than them, then they're like, what the fuck, like, you know what I mean? And that's when they turn on you for some reason. It's kind of weird. So I really appreciate the people that are in my life right now. All just overall, like people that are part of my life right now. I really have like an appreciation for them just because they're people who genuinely care for me, and I care for them, and I care about their well-being and them and their careers or whatever they're doing. I appreciate people who are there for me, and not just to tell me what I want to hear.
But see, and it's foolish not to, like what you were saying about how people, as long as you're not doing better than them. I've heard that too, but I'm like, if somebody's doing better than me,
I want to hang with them
because I want to learn.
Exactly. Like, dude,
I think that's the difference between people who are happy and people who aren't. People who are happier, they want to learn. They always want to figure shit out, and especially when it comes to specialized industry, as music is. When I'm at a place where there's people that have made it, like, I'm trying to listen to what they're saying.
Oh yeah,
and
always
learn, because we're all made up of stories, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you can learn a lot from people's stories. People that were just like you, struggling to make it at some point, or people who were just like me, trying to make it in this industry of almost everybody's Anglo, and we're like the Mexicans. We're like the frijol and the rice, man.
Yeah.
But
which is cool.
But even a lot of those people, they didn't have it easy either,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I it's like you say, I think you have to have an attitude of gratitude. That rhymed.
Yeah.
But and look at life every day and just work hard and then also have time to enjoy stuff. You also have to have a balance.
Smell the roses.
Yeah.
I agree, man. I agree. It's very, every night, because I'm very just like, I'm always in my head, and at night I'm always like, because you get in your feels at night for whatever reason. You start getting in your feels, and you start thinking about family, you start thinking about your parents, you start thinking. I think about all the people that I love, and I'm always like, dude, I'm out there just trying to grind, just trying to make something of myself, and I don't spend the time that I should with my family, with my parents. I see my dad all the time. I see him every day because he's always around at the studio. I see my parents very often. I would say almost every day, but I don't get to spend quality time with them. Sometimes because of my grind, whatever I'm doing, like the day to day, a lot of things come up, during the week or whatever, shit that I wasn't planning on dealing with. So sometimes, even just having a conversation with them, like, I can't do it because it's like they'll start asking me, hey, so how are you, or what's up with this? I'm like, I don't want to talk right now, like, just let me chill, you know what I mean, because of the stress or whatever it is that that I have to deal with.
Yeah,
so
you kind of want at least a little bit of time to not be thinking about what you have
to
do.
Dude, and just because I know at some point, dude, like, you're gonna get to that point, like, for example, like when your parents aren't there anymore, I'm gonna be like, fuck, I had my dad with me so many times right there, and I didn't take him in, like, I didn't absorb like his energy, like, I didn't listen to him, I didn't have a conversation. He was there, and it was like might as well be in a different room, in a different place, because like I didn't even acknowledge him, you know what I mean? And I think as as we get older, and I think as my parents get older, I think now it's like they try to, like, my dad really tries reaching out. Like he texts me every day around like 10 a.m. or he'll call me every day. And I think now, you know, it's really funny because when I was young, when I was a kid, I wanted his attention, but he was busy doing his thing. He was busy being a businessman or whatever. And now that I'm older, he wants my attention. Now that he's older, he wants my attention, and I can't. It's just weird how life works, dude. Yeah. Like, it kind of sucks, you know. But so, you know, at night I'm thinking like, shit, I should spend more time with them. I should have more conversations with them and stuff. So it's something that I'm working on. I'm trying to get better at. Like, I'm trying to be intentional.
I started kind of doing that this year because I wasn't very. I'm the youngest of all my siblings, and I didn't grow up very close to my brother because he was just older than me, and he had his friends already, and I was a kid when he was a teenager. So it was kind of. But lately, I've been doing that, man. I see him once every week or 2 weeks.
That's cool.
We go out, shoot some pool, have a beer or something, and because at the end of the day, I think those are the things that do matter, and there has to be some kind of balance. It can't always be about work, you know. It has to. Life is to be lived, you know. But we have to nourish those relationships that matter to us, because at the end of the day, man, like, no, you know, no matter what, your dad and your mom are gonna be there for you.
And I think that's the thing. I think that's what makes it okay in your head, or at least in my head. Like, I mean, they'll be there tomorrow, or they'll be there next week. But it's like, you don't know that, you know. Nobody guarantees that, you know. And I think at the end of the day, you know, it's easy to say, but, you know, at least, you know, when you put it in perspective, like business or whatever you're trying to accomplish, that shit can be gone. Like, you can either reach it or get there or not. But even if you do get there, like, that thing can just end, and then that's it. But your parents and the time and family, or that time never comes back. Like, there's no starting over. There's no like time machine that you can go back and fix shit. Like, if you lost that time with people, it's gone. And you know, I learned that with my son Nate. You know, I've been doing this music thing for a long time, you know, and I got to miss out on a lot of things, like a lot of things when he was a young kid, you know. And right now, he's 13. You know, he's 13. He's a teenager.
Now he's doing his own thing.
Now he's doing his own thing. I'm lucky that he still loves me and cares for me like the way that he does. But there's a lot of things I missed out on, and there's no way of going back and fixing that. There's no redo in this shit. You know what I mean?
But you know what? There'll always be opportunities for you to show. You can't make up for that, but in life, man, we can only move forward, and every day we can start over and say, okay, if I didn't do this the other day, then I'm gonna start doing it now, and you have a chance every day, because, like I tell you, man, when we're older, we're gonna realize, you know, like, and as you are getting older, as we are getting older, you start, you know, things start hitting you. You're like, oh shoot, I never saw this way, you know.
Yeah.
But people that love us do matter, and I think it's one of those things that we need to make an effort, you know, to spend the time and to learn to cherish those things, because we only have each other, man. At the end of the day, like, all the stuff you can get from fans and stuff like that, especially once you start getting bigger and projects start getting bigger and more important things come, you know that there's going to be a lot of fake people out there, you know, and it's going to be up to us to decide, like, who do we spend our time with, you know, the people that just want us for whatever we may have or not, or the people that were always there, you know.
Yeah.
And I so much enjoy, like, when I come back to El Paso, man, I reach out to my friends because I enjoy it, man. Like, and it's just, you know, that those people have been there all along, you know.
Yeah.
And
they care about you,
and they don't even give a hoot about what you're doing. Like, they're not, I mean, not in the sense that they don't care, but they don't care about if you made it or you didn't make it, or
you're still their friend.
You're just you know.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think we kind of touched on a lot of things already.
Yeah. No, I was just checking this song that's playing right now. I actually was trying to find it, and I was just saving it to my playlist.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, when I go out of town, like, if I listen to, because you walk into restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shoot,
Shazam that shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then save it. And
I love it. Technology.
it's
man.
funny though, because sometimes I'll hear a song, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? And why did I think that was good? And then some other songs is like, oh wow, I'm glad I found.
Yeah, that's been happening to me a lot lately. Like I Shazam it, and I do love it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, we talked about a lot of things that that have to do with music. I think it'd be interesting, or I think it'd be cool to have. We talked about like the wives and the girlfriends and all that. Do you guys have a lot of? Don't throw anybody under the bus. I mean, you don't. But you guys don't deal with a lot of that stuff in the Frank Ray camp.
Yeah, sometimes it does happen. There's. It just happened to Frank actually, and his wife was there, which was funny.
Yeah.
We were in Las Cruces, and he, he engages the crowd. That's just the way he is. And there was a lady there, and he gave her the mic, and he shouldn't have. She said some stuff, and Frank's like, I told you I'm married, like it happens. It happens. But I've also met some really, really cool people, out on the road.
Yeah.
Made some friendships. But yeah, it definitely happens every now and then, and especially, I mean, Frank just has that thing, where people are drawn to him, and
Yeah.
he's always smiling, and then his energy, on
Yeah, he's
stage
got
is-
and he's got good vibes, man. Like
Yeah.
he even you can tell right away, and so I can totally see that. I actually got to meet the guys from Diamante Eléctrico. They came through for Neon, and they're dope band from Colombia. And I we went out to dinner, and I asked them like, so how's there? What's the status? Like who's married, who's not, whatever. And the dudes who were married recently got divorced, And they were like, nah, dude, like that, it's just too hard to be married and do this shit. Like this music thing, it's very hard for people to understand, like for that significant other to support, like entirely, because there's a lot of things that come up, that
And
a
it
lot of
matters
things that
where
happen.
you're at yourself, like for me, I do envision like settling down. Maybe I don't know when, but I do want to have the concept of family again in my life. It's something that I do.
So you're not completely like you're open to it.
Yeah, I'm open to it.
Are you open to marriage still?
Honestly, like
the whole getting married.
I guess
and-
philosophically, I don't believe in it anymore.
Yeah.
But I never say never, dude, because when you love somebody,
Yeah. You do crazy shit.
Yeah. And so I've learned that in my life. It's like you were saying earlier. I don't get married to my ideas anymore, whether it's musically or anything, dude. Anything. I'm open because.
Which I think it's the best place to be. Like when you're there mentally, it's just because then you can learn and grow so much, dude. And I think it's healthy to be open to things.
Yeah, and because you deprive yourself from meeting great people sometimes because of your preconceived notions and assumptions about things, and like I tell you, not only when it comes to people, when it comes to anything. You think something about something, and then once you're there, it's so different,
Yeah.
Once you're there, I mean, I look at it now how I used to think about, like when when we started coming up as kids playing at church, like we would go to concerts, and you'd see like Torre Fuerte or one of those bands.
Rojo.
Yeah, you'd see them under the lights, and you thought, oh, these guys are living the life.
Yeah.
But now that you're like under the stage and the good production and stuff, and then you go back to sleep in a crappy hotel, you realize that it's not all that it's cracked up to be, Sometimes it's like that. So I don't know, man. Right now I'm just letting things happen, letting things happen. Of course, I have my moral compass and whatever things that I do and won't do, and stuff like that. But
yeah.
But overall, I'm just letting things flow, man. I don't believe in forcing anything. Even when it comes to people, like if I meet somebody and there's no connection, okay, there's no connection. I'm not one to be like, oh, come on, go out, let's do this, or no, because you'll find people that are on your same wavelength, and that have that same feeling of wanting to be with you. So it's just, for me, it's just about that, just letting things be the way they're gonna happen. But I'm not. That's exactly why I'm not making any assumptions or plans, because I'm just letting life surprise me right now. You know,
which is dope because of where you're at with music, and I think it even helps you do just be more, just be able to make. I don't know. I'm not gonna say make more moves, but kind of, because like sometimes we have to hold back when there's that person that doesn't understand or something that.
Or you have commitments and you have responsibilities that require a lot more of your time.
It's like, so perfect example, and which I'm totally cool with. But we were supposed to go to Colombia earlier this month, and we were supposed to open for Bad Bunny. We were gonna do 3 shows in Colombia, but my wife's pregnant right now, and there was no way really that I was gonna up and leave. Not right now, at least, because I'd be in another country, and we don't know if Zane's gonna decide to come. Like he's gonna come whenever he's ready. So I didn't want to do that, and so those are things that you kind of miss out on because of life, because of family, and which is totally like I mean, for me, I never put myself in a situation again because I've lived it. I've been there with it happened with Nate. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to make the same mistake where I just chose to, like, hey, I'm gonna do music, I'm gonna go do this and that, and because to me it's not worth it anymore. It's not like what it used to be. Before it was like changed. Shit. Like I would do anything to be there or make it happen, but now it's like, nah. Like, you know what? My family comes first, and I told the guys always, like, family comes first. If we're gonna like, if this is gonna cost like somebody their marriage, like, yo, like, it's better to just step away and let things flow, you know what I mean? But I think it'd be cool to bring like some wives or girlfriends to talk about their perspective of things.
That's not a bad idea.
I think it'd be cool, like to hear what they want to say, unfiltered, and just like, because I think sometimes people just kind of hold back, just because they don't want to like step on anybody's toes or whatever. Especially band members. It's like, but low key they don't like they're like, fuck, like, I hate you, like, for booking shit and for making them leave town and stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
it gets difficult. I think it's hard to find somebody that understands and supports you
fully.
But I think it could happen. It's just also that I think there's a balance between the people that you choose to date too, because a lot of times right off the bat. But then you kind of let other things dictate if you want to keep seeing that person when you already know that it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna happen. And so it's so many factors that go into the decisions that you make and the results that you get, the consequences of those decisions, because it's like I tell you, we're as human beings, we're so inconsistent at times with what we say and what we do, or and so a lot of times we conceptually have these thoughts in our heads where, oh, this is what I want to do, but then you meet a person and you let that person derail you from what you because you want to be with them so much, and then it's not gonna end well. So it's just deciding, man. It's just, I think what happens with me nowadays is that I really look for quality in people. Yeah. People that, especially when it comes to women, I think I like a woman that's driven too.
That's got their own goals and dreams and aspirations. Totally.
Because then she'll understand you more, than as opposed to somebody who's completely depending on you. Yeah.
Like that you are their world, and like that's it, because it is a lot harder. I like with my wife, she does her thing. She's she's a psychologist, and so she's really busy a lot of times, you know what I mean? So I think that's why it works, because she understands. She's got her own shit going on too, you know what I mean? So it's like she understands that it's all just about like, because I think it happens that people just want like all this time, like spend time with me, like we need to be together, and it's like, dude, like there's I got shit to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and when the other person has shit to do too, it's just like, okay, cool, we understand each other. Like, right now I'm busy. Next time it's probably you who's gonna be busy. So let's try to work it out.
I think life is about balance, you know. Like, I think extremes are always negative. If in anything, you know, obviously, if you don't spend any time with somebody you're with, then that's gonna die off. But also, if you're always with them, you kind of lose your sense of individuality, you know, and you lose yourself in them.
I think that's it's dangerous when that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a balance where you cater to your own needs at times, and you look out for yourself as an individual, but then also you give of yourself to that person that you love. It's a balance thing. It's like, to me, I guess one of the things that I've kind of implemented in my life is I try to have balance. I try to because again, like with my daughter, for example, you know, there's always this romantic notion that she's my all, and she's my daughter. I love her, don't get me wrong, but she's gonna be 9 years old, and in another 9 years she's gonna fly on her own, you know.
Yeah.
So if I make her my whole world, if I make my whole life about her, and I don't do anything for myself, the day she goes, I'm gonna be like, oh shoot,
what do I do with myself?
You know? Exactly. So I have to live my own life, you know.
Yeah.
But I have to be a responsible, loving dad, also because she needs me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that balance, you know.
Yeah.
Of having. So that's why I like I told you, I've dated, you know, because that's the part of me that I need to find somebody, you know, at some point. But there's also times when I have to spend that time with my girl, you know, and be with her, and I want to teach her that, you know. I want to teach her, like, to value her family, you know, her mom, but value myself. But she also has to live her own life. You know, it's one of those things. It's not, and then everything's affected by everything. For example, like us in Latino culture, we're more of we find it hard to let go. You know, we hold on to things, and so to us, it's like, you know, there's families that, like my mom's family. I've always thought it was weird, but like 3 or 4 of her siblings, they all moved together wherever they've gone. Like, they lived in Juarez, and then they moved to Las Cruces, and then they moved to Oklahoma City, and they all live like within 3-4 houses of each other.
Oh, really?
I'm like, what the hell, you know, freaking nomads or something.
Yeah.
But that's the way they are, you know. That's personally, I can't do that, you know.
That's crazy.
But it's balance, man. It's if you're with somebody, you have to know that person requires time and attention, you know? And if you're not willing to give that time and attention, then, especially for people who are single, don't get into a relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
Be honest. Like, I don't want to spend time with you. Like, I don't have time. I really don't have time for it. Yeah. Sorry. Like, you're cool, but I don't have time for it. Sorry, you know?
And sometimes you're just not in the right place at the right time. Sometimes, and it's happened before too, where, you know, you meet somebody and that you like, but then nothing happens, and then 3 years later something happens because it wasn't the right time, and now it is, you know. I think it's them, and just be patient when it comes to relationships with women or men. Just be patient and value yourself. You need to learn how to be happy without anybody.
Yeah.
Before you can even, because if not, you're just gonna go and depend.
Because then you're gonna depend on somebody. Yeah, like that happens. I see that happening a lot. I always, you know, because I do work with, you know, with artists, you know, with artist development, or even just outside of that, even just I'm starting to get into the management aspect of it, because that's what I want to do. That's kind of where I want to end up at. But I'm like, man, if you're not in a relationship right now, try to keep it that way. At least for a couple years. Like, let's establish you. Let's get things done first, and then, you know, once you have a flow, and once you realize that, like, once this you're establishing, you understand the workflow and how much work it takes and all that, all the different factors, you know. Then at that point, if you think you can do it, if you think you can handle a relationship, then do it. But not when we're starting off, just because it's so complicated, and because it happens a lot. Like, people, have these dreams and they have these goals, and then they get in a relationship and they stop, because they're not, they lose their individuality, and so I think that it's a tricky thing. So I always think I always find it interesting, to like ask people about relationships, especially people that are doing this like full time, or like to the point where they live off of it, what I mean? Because it is like a hot topic, and that's why I think I'd be really cool to have like a wife or a couple of girlfriends. I don't know, whoever's open to it.
Relationships are just, they're as complex as human beings.
Even
man.
It's just in general, you know what I mean? And then you throw the whole music thing into the mix, and it's just like so complicated.
Yeah. Especially in this day and age where social media kills a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
Like,
why are you commenting?
Yeah, it's rough, man. It really is.
Or when you like a picture and then it shows on your feed.
Like stupid Facebook.
Yeah, man. But no, man. We're gonna wrap it up.
Right.
We've been talking for like over an hour. How long has it been?
2 hours.
2 hours?
Jesus.
Dang, that's a long time. We could go on probably a couple more hours. We always have interesting conversations, and there's always a lot to talk about. So we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much, dude, for coming by.
Oh, thanks for inviting me, man.
I'm really excited to see what happens, and with your projects. I'm really excited for you guys with the and the whole Frank Ray camp, and as well as Brian Mars. I know you guys have some stuff cooking up. So if you want to throw out your social media, your links, so people can follow you guys.
I think everything's under MarSau Music, and then the Frank Ray is Frank Ray Music.
So awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll see you guys the next time. Hopefully, we can bring some of those wives or girlfriends next time,
or
man.
friends,
we can have or friends, or whoever's dated a musician or been with a musician, and then we can sit down and kind of pick their brain a little bit.
That'd be cool, man. All right.
See you guys till next time.